Let me explain why I think so.
You said where's it going? I think
Yeah. But let me explain why anti-natalism will become a more and more minority taste. Because we are now in the demographic winter. We're getting in there. That all over the West, that people have been, that I've been talking about for decades, because being a Catholic, we focus on this, but nobody else was really. You see, in Japan now, they're going to have in 20 years as many people over 65 as under. So you need a workforce to fund old people. We are moving towards a situation where there'll be so many old people and so few young people that the economies will begin to grind down. Because the people who buy, I'm not the person who goes out and buys all the electronic stuff anymore, all the clothes like I used to. That's what young people do. If you don't have that, you're going to have fewer and fewer and less demand, therefore fewer and fewer jobs and less innovation, because demand drives innovation. And you will have an inability to fund old people services, so you get a stronger call for euthanasia. And then of course, nations which are full of old people and fewer young people become vulnerable to takeover by more vigorous nations. And so really, what's going to happen in the end is our economies will grind down because we don't have the young people, and people will begin to see, oh my gosh, like in Hungary, in France, they're trying to give money to French families to have more kids. It's having limited effect. In Italy, they realise the need for this as well. And in China, where the communists had this one-child policy, now Chinese women are used to having one kid, and they won't do what the communists want them to do, to have more kids. But that is why China is not going to overtake the USA, because now its big workforce is moving through the age range, and it's beginning to retire. They haven't got enough young people to come into the workforce to continue Chinese industrial developments. So they're facing a real problem. So in 20 years' time, China will be beginning to collapse. And no nation can afford this. And then these guys, they might even be locked up, because when the state decides it's in peril, it gets serious. It'll stop with all this rubbish about, oh yes, feminism, yes, 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 and families can be, don't have to be one man and one woman, it's okay. No, states will be saying, you get married to the opposite sex and you have kids, because it'll be a national security issue by then.